Hi, I'm George Brooke, CEO of International Documents Canada. You have questions about how to authenticate and legalize a Canadian document. I'm here to answer some of your questions and to point you to additional sources of help. We're going to answer 3 key questions in this video. First, what is document authentication and legalization? Second, what are the steps in Canadian authentication and legalization? And third, what are my options for having my documents authenticated and legalized? By the end of this video, I want you to feel informed about the authentication and legalization process and to know you have some resources you can turn to. Let's get started with the first question. What is document authentication and legalization? When you need a Canadian document certified as legal in another country, it needs to go through a specific process. This process is called document authentication and legalization. You may have heard the term apostille used and are wondering how this term relates to document authentication and legalization. In Canada, apostille is simply another name for the document authentication and legalization process. The term apostille refers to the Hague Apostille Convention signed into effect in 1961. This is a very interesting convention, but you don't actually need to know anything about it because Canada didn't sign it. Because we didn't sign the Hague Apostille Convention, the Canadian equivalent of the apostille process is technically called document authentication and legalization. All right, question 2. What are the steps in the Canadian authentication and legalization process? There are 3 sequential steps in the authentication and legalization process in Canada. Step 1 is notarization, step 2, authentication, and step 3, legalization. Let's quickly take a look at each one. Notarization involves having a notary or lawyer witness the signatures on a document, and then they will put their signed notary seal on the document, certifying that the signature is legitimate. After your document has been notarized, the second step is to have it authenticated at the Department of Foreign Affairs and International Trade in Ottawa, otherwise known as DFAIT. DFAIT will check that the notary or lawyer who notarized the document is currently in good standing and will then attach a certificate of authentication to your document. The final step in the Canadian authentication and legalization process is to have your document legalized by the embassy or consulate of the country in question. A consular official at the embassy will check that all is in order with your document and that it has been properly authenticated, and then will add a certificate of legalization to the front page. This completes the Canadian document authentication and legalization process. Your document is now recognized as legal in this country. So, to recap the 3 steps in the Canadian authentication and legalization process, step 1, notarization, a simple procedure involving a lawyer or notary. Step 2, authentication, done by the Department of Foreign Affairs and International Trade in Ottawa. And step 3, legalization, done by the embassy or consulate of the country of destination. Now, you might be asking yourself, what are my options for getting my document authenticated and legalized? You have 2 options. Option 1, you can do it yourself, or option 2, you can have a specialist do it for you. Let's first talk about doing it yourself. This method is best for people with time and with some perseverance. It has the advantage of being the cheapest method, but it can take a long time, can be confusing, and it's frustrating trying to get the right information. To assist those of you who wish to manage the authentication and legalization of your own documents, International Documents Canada has partnered with the Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters Association, or CME. The CME is the largest trade association in Canada with over 100,000 members. Together, we've developed the Authentication and Legalization Info Center. This is the authoritative information resource for anyone needing to get a Canadian document through the authentication and legalization process. It's completely free and provides a wealth of essential information. We're adding to it and updating info all the time, so this is a great place to start. Your second option is to turn to a professional to manage the authentication and legalization process for you. My company, International Documents Canada, specializes in managing the authentication and legalization process for clients like you every day. We save you the time and hassle of managing an often frustrating process. We provide a secure chain of custody for your documents throughout the process, and we dramatically reduce the risk of delays due to errors in document preparation. Overall, we can cut processing time by as much as several weeks. Getting started with us could not be easier. Email us or phone toll-free. We'd welcome a chance to discuss your authentication and legalization needs and how we can help. I hope this video has answered a lot of your questions about the authentication and legalization process in Canada. I and my staff would welcome a chance to answer any further questions you may have. Give us a call or send us a quick email. And don't forget the wealth of information on the Authentication and Legalization Info Center website. It's free, and I hope you have a chance to check it out. We've created a short video called Authenticating and Legalizing a Canadian Document, 3 Essential Tips. This adds to the information in this video, and it focuses on helping you avoid the most common pitfalls that people run into when processing their documents. I welcome any and all suggestions on how we can make our videos more useful for you, and check back for more videos from IDC where we'll dive deeper into various aspects of the Canadian authentication and legalization process. Until then, I'm George Brooke with International Documents Canada.